Now, if you think America's bad, oh my god, look at the absolute cuckery that is going on in Europe. Every day it gets worse. J.K. Rowling is going crazy on them. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Counter-terror police are investigating an arson incident in a synagogue in East London, bro. This is every day.
Some breaking news to bring you now from the Metropolitan Police. They say that counter-terrorism police are investigating arson at a former synagogue. It's a site in Nelson Street Tower.
It's every day. It's every day. Now, I made a joke talking about Islamic terrorism in the UK, and I'm like, there was a new one today. All right, and then the guy who was talking to was like, I love what you had to say today. And I said, yeah, because there was one yesterday. It's daily. There's a daily Islamic terror attack in England. All right, now, look, man, obviously we don't know if these were Muslims, but they probably were. Now, you could say that I'm racist, but you're probably not going to say that I'm wrong eventually. This is literally breaking news. This just happened, like, while I was recording this video. All right, just understand, J.K. Rowling has been going insane on these people. So there was just 2 stabbings of Jews. 2 Jews got stabbed by a Muslim guy in England, and people are like, I can't believe this needs to... And that Muslim guy that stabbed 2 Jews also stabbed another Muslim guy, just to be clear. All right, who was at the scene as well. Now, just to understand what's going on, the left in England is now saying, well, obviously this wasn't like a hate crime or anything because the dude stabbed a Muslim too, so it's obviously not a Muslim extremist. I can't believe this even needs to be said. A Muslim man stabbing his Muslim friend before going on an anti-Semitic rampage and stabbing Jews is obviously not the same. One is a hate crime, the other isn't. The dude's just a complete and utter retarded piece of garbage filth that was imported into your country. All right, just to be clear, J.K. Rowling agrees, obviously. Now the Muslims are upset at her, right? She got the trans people and the Muslims, the ultimate alliance, the ultimate reject alliance, sorry, of people came together to be upset at her. A lot of us Muslims loved your Harry Potter books and even supported your actions against the trans movement, but it's very unfortunate that you attack us for being anti-Semitic when we are just advocating for the truth. The Israel of today is not the ancient theocratic nation of Israel. My guy, a Muslim just stabbed 2 Jews in London? Like, do we understand the level of bullshit that goes on in society? And it's like, I actually do not support Muslims stabbing Jews in London. Muslims be like, we just criticize the Zionist state of Israel. Like, okay, dude, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. All right, now, Owen Jones says, this piece is disgusting. It's disgusting. It's written by Janice Turner, who isn't Jewish, about Zach Polanski, who is. Zach Polanski is like the far-left Green Party in England, by the way. All right, it's very clear what the British media is trying to do. They are going to try and de facto strip his Jewish identity away from him. What? Zach Polanski knows what he's doing. 2 Jewish men are stabbed in London's most famous Jewish neighborhood, and on Twitter, he's thinking of the victims and everyone who will once be shaken by the attack. No clue from Zach who this everyone might be. Instead, he delivers the minimum sympathies decent requires, etc., etc. Now, to understand, this isn't even anti-Semitism as the major issue, to be clear, as much as it is Islamic terrorism. So J.K. Rowling says, the man who spent years talking over and attacking women for defending their rights, from trans people, has now decided that you must belong to a protected group to express an opinion on the threats facing it. Like, understand the level of retard we're dealing with in society. And of course, the response is the same every single time. This is what the journalist guy responds. 1, if I wrote about a Jewish person, Jew is his political shield. That would be the end of my career. Yeah, because notably, no one's ever criticized Jews before. 2, if you care about women, why don't you speak about the Palestinian women being slaughtered by Israel because of a war that Hamas started? You see, I actually criticize Hamas. By the way, did you know that Hamas in Gaza right now is raping women in exchange for giving them food? That they are literally starving their own people, only giving them food in exchange for letting them rape their wives. This is the real thing that's happening in Gaza right now, which notably the pro-Palestinian activists don't want to talk about. Now, to be clear, this is going to be a controversial take. I don't really care about Palestine that much, to be honest. It's just become the ultimate Trojan horse for, like, every single issue that leftists have everywhere on the planet to be like, actually, you have to support Muslims stabbing Jews in public in London because Palestine, and it's like, oh my fucking God, you people are evil retards. And to be clear, yeah, there's anti-Semitism that's happening in England coming from Muslims that they're importing. like, that's the craziest thing. The far right in England is not doing shit to the Jews because there really isn't a far right in England right now, right? You know, I'm sure there's some retard neo-Nazi in his basement that wants to kill Jews or something, but the violence is all coming from the Muslims, and no one actually wants to engage with the actual conversation that needs to be had. The people that are stabbing the Jews and blowing up the ambulances and burning the synagogues are the same people that are raping the white girls and that are blowing up the churches, all right? It's the same people every time. Like, and people like to coordinate it and funnel funnel it into like little miniature microcosm conversations, but the major issue is actually the same, and it's the same that's happening everywhere in Europe. A car plowed into a crowd in Leipzig, Germany, killed 2 people and injured several others. But hey, it's just a little random coincidence. It's totally not a fault of immigration. All right, in Coquitlam, British Columbia, Indian immigrant washes clothes in river using harmful detergents. Local shouts at him that the detergent will affect people, but he doesn't care.
No, we don't put soap in the river. There's salmon. There's salmon and all sorts of fish. This is a good. This is. Yeah, no, this is a protected area. Please, no soap or detergent in the river.
He doesn't care. You're poisoning the fish. But guess who doesn't care, ladies and gentlemen? Guess who doesn't care? It's pretty insane. So a Rwandan immigrant had asylum application rejected, but he stayed in France anyway, and no one bothered to deport him. The local priest gave him a job looking after the cathedral. The priest sent him to stay at his home with him. What a nice guy. And he set the cathedral on fire, and he murdered the priest. Emmanuel Abaisanga was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Wow, this could have been avoided, actually. You know, I know this is a controversial take, but they could have avoided all of this if they had a little less retard, toxic empathy for these fuckers that are coming into the country. All right, you know, we could avoid this. You know, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think someone like this could integrate into society so well. Afghan businessman openly sells vile 9/11 rug in Santa Barbara. You know, I actually don't think this person could integrate into modern society. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he can. Knifeman. Oh, this is awesome. I love how the media calls these. Knifeman stabs women to death in random street attack in front of terrified bystanders in Barcelona. Knifeman did it. All right, now I'm going to show you a nice map. All right, so these are, as you can see from this map, consult the map. These are North Americans, these are South Americans, Europeans, Asians, Australians, and knifemen. All right, there's nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here, guys. It's just a knifeman. Classic Barcelona situation. Nothing to see here. All right. Now, in fact, here's the crazy twist. This was the 5th stabbing attack in Barcelona in 24 hours. I'm pretty sure they were all done by immigrants. Immigrants, I call them. Invaders, some would call them. A man in critical condition being stabbed several times, broad daylight. Oh, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, these were Christian nations, man, you know, upstanding civil society. All right. Civil reality came from these people. All right. I'm not going to lie. What are we doing? What are we doing? Based on the biblical values of law and order that these countries were founded upon. Christian civilization, a beautiful society where people trusted each other. Not anymore. I wonder what happens when you import infinite retards from the third world and you refuse to do anything about it. Well, that's just life. That's just life. You just have to live with it, I guess. Clashes between police and protesters outside of the Islamic Jihadi Center in Crewe. Yeah, we're just supposed to tolerate this on a daily basis. This totally is not because of some form of religion or ethnic difference, right? This is totally not some sort of cultural difference. We just have to tolerate the fact that this happens on a daily basis in our countries. Now, the greatest part is, these people say it themselves. Like, I don't need to be called Islamophobic because these people are nice enough to be honest about it.
She says, your Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl. He was a warlord. He was a slave owner.
True.
And I wish that 6-year-old was me. I swear to God.
Man, I wish I was raped as a kid, says random brainwashed jihadi that's imported into our countries. Man, I wish I was raped as a baby.
Wish it was me. And I wish it happened at age even 1, that he would speak for my hand in marriage at age 1. I wish it was me.
She wishes she was raped as a 1-year-old baby. She wishes. Yeah, let's import infinite of these guys, please.
So if you think you're going to make me think a certain way about him, think again. Islamophobe. Bye.
You Islamophobe. You don't like babies getting raped, you Islamophobe? Unbelievable. And like, they openly say it themselves. Like, I don't need to be Islamophobic here, but like, everyone's crashing out about like little things without actually addressing the main issue, which is the ideology that a lot of these people hold. The cultures that a lot of these people come from is actually the issue. I know we're supposed to make believe all cultures are equal and the same and shit like that. Now, I believe that every human being is made in the image of God. I also believe the reason why our civilization is better is because we're based on biblical values, and well, these people aren't.
700 years of our trial to conquer Europe by force failed. They did something wrong, very wrong. They tried for many years to conquer Europe through wars.
That's right.
Only wars.
But they couldn't. They tried so hard to kill the Europeans and conquer Europe with wars, but they failed.
This is the soft Islamic conquest of the West. Basically, what the Islamic and again, I'm an Orthodox Muslim. What we couldn't do in the last, say, 20 years, now the West is doing it for us for free and even paying for it.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that beautiful? They say it themselves, man. They're like, man, we tried for 700 years to conquer Europe by force, but we failed. Partially because we're inbreds, partially because Allah was not on our side. But now we're letting the Europeans are letting us conquer them anyway. The subjugation of a generation of women, and it's amazing, guys. So they openly say it themselves, but we're not allowed to acknowledge the issue. We're not allowed to actually acknowledge the issue. A couple Muslims blow up a church. Oh, it's just Christianophobia. No one actually cares about Christians getting massacred these days. Heartbreakingly, I try to cover it as much as I can, but people just don't seem to care. You know, people stab Jews in London. Oh, that's anti-Semitism. You know, a guy drives into a Christmas market in Germany and just runs some people over. Oh, that's just a bad driver, I guess. Can we acknowledge the elephant in the room, please? Please?
Allah permitted them to live off the infidel while they are subduing them.
Yeah, pretty insane. Isn't that an incredible society that we built where these people could come in, we will pay them to be here, and then they'll just conquer us like they're actually trying to do themselves so openly. Well, listen, man, this is Germany. Between 2016 and 2025, they had 200 Islamic terror attacks. This is Poland. Between 2016 and 2025, they had 0 Islamic terror attacks. Guess which one is open border policies? So this is a story of suicidal empathy. I feel like it's important for people to understand and live in the correct times, understand what society is right now.
A refugee.
Because a little bit of radical honesty will change your perspective on life.
Welcome open border activist invited an African migrant to stay in her.
Isn't that beautiful? She was so wholesome. She's an open border activist, so she invited some Africans to stay in her home, expecting them to live in the same cultural way that they live.
What could possibly go wrong? Estabali's courtesan started with the best of intentions.
Bueno, yo le conocí, a ver, yo estoy en una plataforma que ayudamos a personas inmigrantes y refugiadas.
She really did commit to the cause.
Entonces acogemos en nuestra casa a chicos que están en situación de calle y, por ejemplo, en mi casa, pues venían a dormir al sofá.
A middle-aged woman inviting random African boys to sleep on a sofa.
And the sad thing is, like, these people actually psyop themselves into believing that all cultures are the same. And that these people don't come from backwards, inferior fucking cultures. All right? These people are supposed to sit here and be like, yep, that's right. That's right. We're all just people, and people are all the same, and society is the equal everywhere, and cultures are beautiful everywhere. These people psyop themselves into believing this shit, man.
Look, she just wanted to help.
Entonces, esta persona había estado en casa de unos compañeros durante un mes. Yo estaba buscando un inquilino, él buscaba habitación, me dijeron que no habían tenido ningún problema con él.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We've had absolutely no problems with him. Honestly.
Y por eso le cogí.
It was then that her nightmare began.
What a fantastic experience.
¿No ves? Otra vez las luces encendidas. Que están 15 minutos fuera.
House is a total pigsty.
Todos los días. La casa. Todo encendido.
There's been a little cultural enrichment in the bathroom.
What's going on there?
Utilizar el baño.
I would like to take a shower, but the floor is full of shit.
He hates her dog and has zero respect for her property.
Esta es la silla que tiene para estudiar. Este es el carrito de mi perra que lo odia a muerte. Pero a muerte. Porque mirad cómo lo pone. Así.
Look at that shit. What, he treats your things badly?
Trata mis cosas.
And suffice to say, doesn't appear very grateful. But it gets worse.
Slamming the door middle of the night.
Él desde que se levantaba hasta que se acostaba, su único objetivo era molestarme. Entonces, por ejemplo, a las 12 de la noche se levantaba al baño y dejaba las luces
You would
encendidas.
get up at midnight and leave the lights on. I would have to get up and turn them off.
Tenía que levantarme a apagarlas. A las 2 de la madrugada, lo mismo. Me tenía que levantar
Same thing at 2 in the morning.
a apagarlas. A las 6 de la mañana, él se levantaba, ponía música, ponía un
He
montón
would just blast music at 6 a.m.
alarmas con el móvil, ponía todas las luces encendidas.
This is amazing. You mean he doesn't actually care about your well-being whatsoever at all? You mean he's not at all grateful for this and it's just a complete entitlement situation?
Abría la ventana.
Just an utter cacophony of endless noise and disruption.
Todo. Poniendo la televisión hasta las 12 de la noche a tope para que no pueda dormir.
You wouldn't be able to sleep because he keep the television on till midnight.
Llevo, he estado más o menos un año durmiendo 3 horas al día.
It was at this point that you might think she'd be doubting diversity's our greatest strength, but it gets worse again.
Una vez llegué a casa, en el comedor, pues en la sala, yo me senté a cenar, él estaba con el portátil y estaba viendo porno.
He was just sitting there at the kitchen table watching porn,
Had to
blasting that shit.
Blur it, but you can take a wild guess at what he was watching on his laptop. This went on for an entire year, and because of her pathological altruism, she endured it.
Esto lo hace para sacarte de tus casillas, para intentar que te vayas, para...
Bro, woman trying to admit she was wrong. Challenge failed.
Para sus saltas en la casa, o esto, ¿por qué lo hace? No tiene suficiente.
Y son 11 meses y no se cansa.
11
So it gets
months.
worse again, having acknowledged that she literally invited a psycho into her home.
Yo estoy convencida que es un psicópata.
Esther Belize came up with a smart idea to fix the situation. Bring in another migrant to talk to the unwanted tenant
That'll
and just
work.
convince him to be reasonable.
That's
That
right.
went well. The unwanted tenant tried to bite the other migrant's face off.
Oh my god!
I never thought leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party. He then
Exactly.
harassed her, abused her with nasty insults, and assaulted a female friend who had visited the house in an attempt to mediate. Suffering a nervous breakdown, her life had become a living hell.
That's
Bueno,
crazy.
tengo
And it's
psicólogo
all the consequences of her own actions.
desde hace un mes o así.
When social services ignored her plea,
Fui a la casa de la mujer y claro, como todo este tema no es violencia de género, no es mi pareja, pues en ningún sitio.
Based. I don't actually want them to help her, I'm not gonna lie. I want her to figure it out. I want her to figure out the solution herself. Evicting him. Kicking him out. That's right, that's the solution. And until she figures it out, I actually don't want anyone to help. Like, why should your taxes be funding social services to help her from a situation that she literally invented? And I think it's awesome. I think every single activist, every single immigration activist needs to do this. They all need to live with one of these motherfuckers.
Esther Belize finally contacted the police, only to be told that squatters have rights and that she'd have to continue to pay for him to live there. But don't go away, because I'll tell you what we
Oh my absolute cinema, dude! This is the greatest thing ever.
separately launched a petition complaining the migrant squatter had more rights than her, a Spanish citizen. Then the migrant...
This is literally what's happening to your entire country! These people come in and get their de facto squatters' rights and you can't evict them.
Changed the locks, and she was forced to leave entirely and sleep on her brother's couch.
The migrant changed the locks and locked her out of the house! Oh my god, absolute cinema!
Taunting her further, he even brought in garbage from the street and sent her videos of a trashed apartment. Esther Belize had been politically active for years, helping African migrants in their own countries. Yeah, probably should have left it at that. She also previously posted this on Facebook, defending African migrants for illegally invading Spain, while also legitimizing illegal boat migration on the basis that European countries import minerals and food from Africa. But get this. Even after everything she went through, Esther Belize still refused to divulge the
woman taking accountability. Challenge failed once again.
Migrant's country of origin to the media because she doesn't want to contribute to existing racism.
She's literally letting herself get raped because she doesn't want to sound racist.
You knew it was coming. And any shred of sympathy I had for her just vanished. I mean, pick your parable, because there are many. Orcs welcome a few years later. We don't feel safe. A campaigner for Podemos, the far-left ruling party that just legalised 500,000 illegals. Esther Belize is the living embodiment of you reap what you sow. She literally got what she voted for.
True. Yep. Women signing petitions to import millions of third world migrants right after posting about how scary it is to walk alone at night. And this is literally just society now. And you're not allowed to acknowledge it. You're not allowed to acknowledge it because that makes you racist. You can never actually acknowledge the issue. We do have a button, and if you just push the fix everything easily button, everything will get fixed easily, but you're not allowed to push that button. They just sit there and refuse to push the fucking button. But reality is changing. It is. It's changing in front of our eyes. We are witnessing the mass wake-ups of the retards in society who are kind of tired of getting raped. And as an anti-rapist myself who stands against the pro-rapists on the left, I want to import the rapists to rape. I say, my sisters, I am with you. I will defend you, even when you don't want to be defended. Don't worry, I am noble in that way, and we will do our absolute best to vote out democracy to make sure that you never have power again. Because you're honestly, you can't be trusted to wield it, so we'll do that for you. You're welcome, says me, your benevolent overlord in the future. It's gonna happen. Ultimately, the only thing that can protect these women are strong men. I know they hate to hear it. They hate to hear it, but that's just where we're at. Sorry, women. We're here for you. Now, my favorite thing about this entire situation, like with J.K. Rowling crashing out on Muslims and shit, is actually very simple. It's because J.K. Rowling was a libtard. When she was out there and writing her books, the Harry Potter books is like she was creating the most libtard fantasy ever. I'm not gonna lie. You know, the ultimate diverse environment of a secret society of magic people who are wholesome chunguses. Voldemort is the evil white supremacist guy who believed in pure blood and fought against the dirty mudbloods. And the good guys had so much toxic empathy that they would stupefy the Death Eaters again and again and again and again. Infinite stupefaction of Death Eaters, but they wouldn't fucking kill them. And you know what? Because they refused to kill the Death Eaters, one of the Death Eaters, who they stupefied 4,000 times over the course of the books, ended up killing Lupin in the last book, whose death could have been avoided if these people had a little less toxic empathy and they would have fucking killed those bastards. But nope, they had to have empathy for them, so they'd Expelliarmus their way through society, only to let themselves get raped by infinite Death Eaters that they could have dealt with very, very effectively and permanently in the first place. All the issues in the Harry Potter books basically come from retards that refuse to actually solve the problem and only kick the can down the road. That's all the problems in Harry Potter society. So J.K. Rowling, all right, libtard, ends up going through society. She completely gets radicalized on the trans shit when she realizes that you got these biological men raping women in women's bathrooms and prisons. Totally radicalizes the shit out of her on trans shit, and here she is in society where she's supposed to be a wholesome chungus and accepting everybody, watching people be like, wait a second, hold on, let me get this straight. You got Muslims doing terror attacks in England, raping people literally everywhere in England all the time, and you're not allowed to call out that it's Islamic terrorism and it's an Islamic problem? We have to sit here and literally try to make believe how every different minority group is equally important and all of them are equal and society is a wholesome chungus universe and there's racism and white guys are the problem when that's not how reality works anymore. No one's falling for the psyop. And the radicalization of J.K. Rowling has been absolute cinema. And you should definitely subscribe to me because I have a lot more satisfaction to bring you.